All right, hello everybody. Welcome again. It's 9 in the morning here in Central Standard Time in Illinois, United States, and we are going to get started on the 4th annual Reimagine Our Future Undergraduate Sustainability Competition. Thank you very much for doing the sound check earlier with us today and joining us no matter how early or late it is for you in all the different time zones that you're at. We are finally at the award ceremony. Our team finds it super exciting, and I hope you get excited as well to meet your fellow participants and finalists and the judges and the sponsors. But I also hope today we all get some sort of sense of a shared community as we all got together in one time, one place to talk about sustainability. Isn't that cool? My name is Sandra, and for the next couple of hours, I will be your host and have the joy of hosting this competition. It truly is a pleasure to get so many people joining us today, but also working with us this fall for so many months. Thank you for choosing to be with us and to engage with this big endeavor. Special welcome to all the advisors, the judges, and the sponsors. This competition truly relies on your efforts and the time that you're willing to spend to support the students' curiosity, and we greatly appreciate it. But Reimagine Our Future, it's really an international endeavor. As you can see on the slides, we have 11 institutions that we partnered with just this year. We had the joy of working with the International Humanitarian University from Ukraine, the Zhejiang University from China, University of Pretoria from South Africa, University of Turin from Italy, the University of Quito in Colombia, the Vienna University of Economics and Business in Austria. We had 4 universities from the United States of America this year, University of Illinois in Chicago, Springfield, and Urbana-Champaign, where we are presenting from today. We also had Wabunzi Community College, which is also in Illinois, United States. And we also had the University of Birmingham in the UK. And we'd like to give special thank yous to the professors Julia Miad, Alex Kowalski, and David Hanna, as well as Beth from the University of Birmingham, who we really closely worked with and collaborated this year to grow the competition, but also sustainability on both of our campuses. Thank you for your great support. Now, to not keep you in the mystery for too much, let me introduce myself properly and explain why am I even here hosting the ceremony talking to you today, guys. Hi, my name is Sandra. I am a graduate student here in the University of Illinois, and I also work as a graduate assistant to this wonderful competition. So I was running the Instagram page as well as communicating with a lot of you guys, especially as of lately. So thank you for responding to our emails. But a huge part of my experience comes from participating in multiple national Model United Nations conferences. And I actually did something very similar to what you have done. I got to work on teams to address multiple sustainable development goals and come up with the solutions for them, which oftentimes they were based on something that's been done before. I firmly believe that sometimes you don't need to really reinvent the wheel, but instead take what's already been done and what worked somewhere and somehow, and reimagine how it can be improved and adjusted. And that is what a lot of you did, and you've done a wonderful job at that. Throughout the last few months, we talked and read and researched a lot about the SDGs. Everyone knows what they are by now, right? They were introduced by United Nations in 2015, following the Age of United Nations Millennium Goals that expired a year prior. And you can look at them once again on the screen. But I suggest you to look at the last SDG today, Partnership for Goals number 17. It's rarely mentioned, but I would like for us to have it today as a theme for today's award ceremony. Partnerships and interdisciplinary approach. I think that's what lays at the core of sustainable development. I mean, think about how interconnected all aspects of our lives are. Let's take an example of AI, one of the most talked about topics today in general. We often hear discussions about the impacts of AI on the job market as more and more tasks are getting automized. However, there's another critical aspect of AI development: environmental impact. Here's what the International Energy Agency published just a couple of months ago in their new report. In 2022, data centers accounted for 1% of global electricity demand. But in larger economies, data centers were estimated to account for up to 4% of electricity demand. I mean, think about these are big numbers, but they're a little bit tricky to imagine. So let's put it into more day-to-day words. Every ChatGPT search that you do takes almost 10 times more energy than a Google search. Now that says something, right? That raises significant, actually, questions about sustainability of this technology and the impacts of just one thing that's been so profound lately. I think the simple example of AI demonstrates really well why collaboration across disciplines is essential. I mean, environmental scientists, energy experts, economists, policymakers, and computer scientists, obviously, and so many others, really have to work together to address the possibilities of AI, but also its consequences and biases. And this interdisciplinarity is what also I believe to be at the core of this competition in your fact sheets. We asked you to address a very narrow problem through quite a wider lens and brainstorm how it might relate to different sustainable development goals. And that is what the SDGs are about, and that is what we hope to inspire. Now, how do we do that? Well, we give you a task to learn and to take what you learn into action. Your fact sheets is a very good example of applying the research that you've done and doing something about it. And sometimes this something comes through real life. Take an example of Aman, whose quote you see on the screen. Their team won the overall winner prize in 2022. And for him, the competition became just a building block as he took his new approach to lithium extraction, pitched it to a couple of startups, and eventually ended up starting his own. And that is what he works on now, which we find very inspirational and impressive. And we hope this journey takes you all somewhere far as well. But this competition would not be possible without our sponsors and supporters. We're immensely grateful for everybody who chose to support our competition, but most importantly, our students and their curiosity, and many of whom support us not for the first time, and we greatly appreciate it. We surely owe a separate thank you and a big round of applause, if we were to meet not virtually today, to our initial judges. We asked very busy people to take time and make this experience meaningful and learning for hundreds of students. And they said yes, they jumped in with incredible effort and knowledge. Another round of virtual applause is definitely in place for our specialist advisors and institution contacts. It was wonderful seeing students and advisors work together, even though they usually didn't even know each other. And it was truly incredible to see people collaborate from different countries and different universities. And of course, our finalist judges. We immensely appreciate your support in taking the time of your days to share your experience and expertise with us and the students to help them bring their projects to life. Just as a quick reminder, this is the judging criteria that everybody used, and it's posted in all the details on our HeroX website. So if you would like to take a closer look at that, once again, please feel free to go back to the website after the award ceremony, and you will see all the details over there. Now, I would like to give a special recognition to the exceptional team that I also got to work with this year. I cannot not mention Professor Liebenberg, Professor Levy, Cody, and Ali, and their very strong desire to put effort into truly encouraging everybody to do something meaningful and take it in action themselves. Our team did our best to make this experience as smooth as possible for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. And on that note, I would like to invite Professor Levy to give us a couple of words.
We take a moment to give tribute to our guiding star, collaborator, and friend, Professor Robert McKim, who passed away this year. Reimagine Our Future would not exist without him. A passage from his last publication appears on the screen. In July 2020, he sent me an email asking to get together to talk. In the midst of the pandemic, we sat with masks on, a park bench, 6 feet apart. It was a wonderful discussion with 4 lessons for this competition. First, Robert recognized that, as highlighted by the pandemic's pervasive disruptions and inequities, we need to drastically do more to promote sustainability thinking on the interrelated social, economic, and environmental challenges facing humans across the world and across generations. Next, Robert saw that it will not be enough to study and write academic papers on sustainability. Rather, we need to promote innovative solutions and actions, particularly by university students. Third, Robert said that we should bring into our brainstorming a brilliant and energetic engineering professor, Leon Liebenberg. Leon became the driving force for this competition, as well as a great friend for me. Finally, Robert's words, actions, and commitments demonstrated that sustainability is fundamentally about kindness and compassion. In this spirit of tribute to Robert, we on the organizing committee hope you enjoyed, learned from, and are inspired by Reimagine Our Future. You are all winners and part of the hope for more sustainability today and in the future. Thank you for your insights, passion, and creativity. And a special thanks on behalf of Robert and me to Leon, who gives so much to advance our dreams through this competition, his teaching, his breakthrough new textbook on energy systems and sustainability, and his friendship. And now back to Sandra, who added so much energy, creativity, and media skills to this competition.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Levy. If there is anything that you guys take away out of this ceremony today, it's kindness and compassion. That is a separate theme that we would like to have running today. Interdisciplinarity is nice and all, but in the end of the day, it's the people who truly care who make a difference in the world. And we really hope that's all of you and us today. Well, the time has come. Historically, it's been very important to share your ideas and developments with the world. Otherwise, many genius ideas have gotten lost for centuries, and it took a while to redevelop them again, and we would not that to happen with your wonderful ideas. We would like to invite now all of the finalists to present their projects to us all. Now, some housekeeping rules to make sure that the conference room runs very smoothly. Please keep in mind that you're expected to give a speech for around 3 minutes to respect everyone's time. And unfortunately, I will have to interrupt you if you go over that. So please, let's just be respectful and very mindful of the time, even though I'm sure you can speak for hours and hours on all of your topics. You're free to ask and answer questions in the Zoom chat, but unfortunately, we won't be able to accommodate a true Q&A session for everybody, again, simply for the sake of time. But if you have any questions, please send them in the chat box, and we or the finalists will be happy to answer those. Now also, keep in mind, please keep your cameras on and your mics when you're going to be speaking. But do mute yourself when you're done presenting to, again, make sure there is no technical difficulties and challenges for anybody. And on that note, let's get started. We are welcoming the Anastasias Albuts team and their project. Team, please turn your mics and go ahead.
Hello. As you may know about the situation in Ukraine, there are many military and civilian who are in need of rehabilitation and prosthesis. This causes suffering, increases unemployment, and puts more pressure on the government, budget, and economy. Already strained by the war, without action, healthcare costs will rise. Social ISIS will worsen, and trust in the government will decline. Our solution is clear: the new rehabilitation center based at a university faculty. We create accessible prosthetics while fostering innovation through student and expert collaboration, cutting costs and freeing up funds for critical wartime needs like defense and rebuilding. Transparent funding and anti-corruption measures will ensure every hryvnia is accounted for, while successful models will position Ukraine as a global leader in affordable prosthetics. Together, we can stop this downward spiral and rebuild lives, families, and our economy.
Our center will be built on the basis of the university faculty, offering a unique opportunity to blend academic expertise, particular innovation, and society impact. The center will serve as a place for collaboration, enabling exchange programs for students, doctors, and engineers to actively engage in their studies. Together, they will work to design and create accessible, cost-effective proposals that address the real needs of both military personnel and civilians. The development process will follow a path of processes will be tested and upon successful trials be certified. These innovations will then be implemented in real life scenarios before advancing to full scale production. The approach promises to drastically decrease the cost of prosthetic support, easing the burden of Ukrainian state budget. The savings will allow for better allocation of resources to critical wartime priorities. Furthermore, rehabilitation individuals will have the opportunity to rejoin the workforce, contributing to economic recovery and resilience of the community. Their return to their productive life not only restores their dignity, but also injects fresh energy into our nation's economy. The faculty could potentially be held in the IHU University, and they will offer exchange programs and supply the essential infrastructure and support for advanced research. Injured individuals will be referred directly to the center where they will receive personalized care tailored to their specific needs. Here's how the process will unfold. Custom prosthesis design. Each individual will have a prosthesis created by skilled rear engineers, ensuring the perfect fit and functionality are tailored to their unique circumstances. Rehabilitational support. Rehabilitation with the new prosthesis will be conducted under the guidance of experienced faculty doctors, assisted by four-year medical students who are certified at the point to be nurses. Psychological support. Certificate certified psychologists in the faculty will provide mental health care, helping individuals cope with trauma and adjust to their new circumstances. Transition to civilian life. Following rehabilitation, individuals will be equipped to reintegrate into civilian life without any further trauma.
All right, thank you. Thank you, team, very much for presenting and being the first ones to present today. I think it was very interesting that you mentioned the psychological assistance program. Mental health is actually something that often gets forgotten, including when we're talking about sustainable development. But it is important, and it has to be addressed, especially in such conditions. So thank you very much for taking the time to address it. I would like to now invite Abby Barrett's team to share with us their ideas about the power of canning foods. Get really excited.
Yes, our canning project is Preserving Hope, a canning initiative to combat food security in Champaign, Illinois. We are proposing a time-tested canning educational initiative in Champaign-Urbana. Champaign-Urbana is the home to University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign with a mix of students, low-income families, and aging population. We were partnered with local farms and community centers to educate about canning preservation methods through demonstration and giving out handouts. Although canning is a traditional method, and we are approaching this from a new perspective of sustainability to achieve multiple goals. We will target Goal 1, no poverty, Goal 2, zero hunger, Goal 12, responsible consumption and production, and Goal 17, partnership for the goal. We believe this initiative will be impactful for our local communities because, first, it creates community resilience. It gives individuals to have preservation knowledge and secure nutritional food for themselves. It also creates a community sharing and engagement time. Second, reduce food loss and waste. We can reduce unnecessary food loss from farms to limit CO2 emissions from landfills. Third, year-round nutritional access. One of the goals of making canned good is to secure nutrition even in the winter where there are less fresh variety of produce available. This is tested through example from Salt Lake Canning Co. from Utah, where they had the same vision as us. They received unfit fruits from local farms and turned that into canned goods through volunteer help, which is then distributed to senior citizens. Their project was successful, as we are proposing a very similar project, we are also confident that with the right implementation, this project can be also successful.
Next slide, please. So in order to implement our project, we first plan to reach out to various partnerships, with that possibly being sustainable farms and programs within the local community. So we first want to reach out to them, see if we can obtain any sort of excess produce or basically anything to help us with low cost resources. So then, yes, we're going to gather our supplies, and through this, while we're doing this and conducting our preliminary research, we're going to be creating educational and promotional materials to make sure that we are outreaching to the correct audiences, to make sure that we are getting the best audience for these promotional demonstrations. So then with that, we're going to start working with local partnerships. So that could be local libraries or just buildings or places on campus or in the local community that will be able to host or allow us to host. So then there's when we're going to start having demonstrations of our own and provide attendees with take-home canning resources. Excuse me. So for the cost estimates that we are looking at for the initial costs, that is when we're going to start seeing the upfront jars, recycled, thrifted, donated. I included some costs from Facebook Marketplace because I think that we want to stay local and first obtain everything we can through donations if possible. And through that, also with the initial cost, we're going to have some social media promotional materials. Luckily, with the initial cost, these tend to be free and low cost. But if we were to expand outward, that is when we're going to invest into some at-home pressure canners or electric stationary pressure canners to hopefully leave in some of these local places for individuals to use at their own leisure. Next slide, please.
So through our canning initiative, we can target 4 SDG goals, helping our local communities to secure food and also help the environment. We would like to start locally and expand incrementally through the US. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, team, for presenting and addressing food insecurity today, which is definitely very relevant to the rural area of Illinois, but can 100% be scaled and converted into many different areas with different climates. And I think one of the strengths of your idea is honestly how relatively low cost it is, because well, you know, the cheaper, the easier it is to implement. So great job on doing the cost estimates and coming up with this idea. So thank you very much once again. Let's now welcome another finalist, Lily Gilbert's team, and their solution to heat stress. Lily, go ahead.
2024 is on track to be the warmest year on record. Heat is the leading cause of weather-related deaths, and women are disproportionately affected. Even more, 789 million people are without energy access, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, and 80% of refugees and displaced persons in camps worldwide have no access to electricity. Next slide, please. And then the next one, sorry. Our solution is a collapsible portable canopy that can provide power through solar fabrics, which are ultra-thin photovoltaic films that can be applied to textile surfaces and allow for an increased flexibility. Provided shade would protect individuals from heat. They could support electronics to connect communities to the internet for economic, educational, and personal endeavors, and can be used to maintain critical communication in crisis situations. Our design is a 10 by 10 canopy that can power standard electronics with 5 to 12 volts of power. Ideally, multiple canopies can be hooked up together to maximize this power. Based on similar products, we estimate efficiency would be around 15% and lifespan could be 10 to 15 years.
Next slide, please. Our product relates to multiple sustainable development goals. It protects individuals from heat, which promotes good health and well-being. It promotes economic equality for women by providing them with access to electricity for various purposes. It is a portable, affordable, and renewable energy source and encourages the use of cleaner technologies. It limits economic losses from disasters by providing access to internet, which can also reduce inequalities in underserved and vulnerable populations. And it fosters resilience for communities in the face of climate impacts. Some locations where our product can be used are refugee camps, street markets, climate disaster relief zones, festivals or concerts, and possibly more. We also plan on selling canopies to companies and using the profits to donate canopies to areas in need. To reduce additions to the waste stream, we would find a way for parts to be shipped back to us and sent to an R3 recycler or to be used in the manufacturing process. It is not clear how recoverable solar fabrics are since it is an emerging technology, and due to this, they may cost a little bit more, and we are uncertain about efficiency levels, though those efficiency levels are increasing. Additionally, we would need water-resistant films and textiles. Our estimate based on similar technologies are the cost would be between $2,000 and $2,500, and CO2 emissions could be reduced by 500 kilograms annually.
Next slide, please. We have identified some potential funding sources and partners for design, development, manufacturing, and distribution. As global temperatures rise, protection from heat is increasingly vital for human health and well-being. While the world strives towards development, it's imperative that we aim to develop sustainably. Providing a renewable, portable energy source will promote clean and equitable energy access in developed and developing countries. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you guys very much. It was a very interesting idea. When I just saw your fact sheet for the first time, I personally found it very inspiring. I haven't thought about that before, so thank you very much for doing such a great job at coming up with an idea like this and finding a way how to utilize the problem and increased heat weather, basically, and creating a shelter, but also energy. I think that was very smart, so thank you very much. And without further ado, let's invite Brianna Harris's team to the Zoom stage. Brianna, the floor is all yours.
Hello, my name is Brianna Harris.
And I'm Kevin Bustamante.
And we are Team Reduce, Reuse, Return from Obanzi Community College.
Our product and solution is Return, your ideal, fully sustainable water bottle. So let's start with the problem, a pretty big one, plastic water bottles. Every day, over 60 million plastic bottles are discarded in the US alone. We really wish this weren't true. These 60 million water bottles contribute to microplastics in our body and the environment, plastic pollution in our oceans, crude oil consumption during manufacturing, and landfill plastic leaching. And here at the bottom are our SDGs, our good health and well-being, responsible production and consumption, climate action, life underwater, and life on land. Next slide, please.
To end this crisis, our solution is Return, the fully sustainable and biodegradable water bottle. Return is made from 3 natural layers derived from waste materials. They're designed together for a 12-month shelf life. The first layer is rice bran wax. This covers the outer layer of Return to provide water resistance and contaminant protection. It's created from rice bran, which is already a waste product in the rice milling industry. The center layer is cellulose acetate. This forms the core and it provides strength and durability. It's derived from cellulose waste from the wood pulp and paper industries. And the last layer is triacetin. This lines the interior and is a natural plasticizer that provides flexibility and resists water absorption. It's derived from crude glycerol found in biodiesel production waste. We plan on partnering with these industries to not only reduce waste, but also promote sustainability. For our implementation plan, we plan on sourcing materials from our future partners, testing biodegradability and shelf life while balancing the 3 layers, launching a marketing campaign to educate consumers on bioplastics, dangers in microplastics, and the power in biodegradability, and marketing at large events where water is typically bought and sold.
Some challenges include balancing materials, accelerated testing in various climates, and ensuring energy-efficient production.
We also plan to partner with major water bottling brands, making the switch to Return seamless for consumers while promoting sustainability. Next slide, please.
And best of all, our product is cost competitive. While plastic costs $1,200 per ton, return costs an estimated $1,000 per ton and still produces approximately 30,000 bottles. This makes return both affordable and sustainable. With current production in the US and future potential in global expansion, return advances critical SDGs and offers a chance to change lives and the planet. We sincerely hope you give return the opportunity to change the world.
And the last slide, please.
And thank you to all the participants, all the judges. Special thanks to Wabanzi Community College, Professor Jesus, and everybody that supported us. Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you. Thank you very much. I really like the last messaging that you sent out here to the world in the competition today, and we definitely agree with it. I think you've done an incredible job at actually balancing the weaknesses of certain materials by introducing the wax layer. Because, I mean, honestly, it's a big thing, it's a big problem a lot of the times now when there are companies that are using certain materials for water bottles, let's say, and then they get soaky. There's a common issue with reusable paper straws, for example. So I thought it was very interesting that you addressed that idea to really balance it out. So good job on that. I think it was really fun. Next up, we have Valerie Imbra's team and their project on increasing recycling education. Guys, join us. Thank you.
Hi guys. So reduce, reuse, rethink, putting an end to the recycling confusion. So our problem was we looked at recycling as a whole within the UK. So next slide, please. So we found that there are 87 eco-labels in the UK alone, and an eco-label is meant to provide information to consumers about the environmental quality of a product. And obviously, if there are too many of these, this can begin to confuse consumers. Eco-labeling is often found to be unreliable due to its lack of validation from third parties, and there's also poor regulation around placing them onto products themselves. So this can allow for greenwashing to occur from companies, which in itself doesn't help with waste disposal. Another problem we highlighted was the incorrect disposal of plastic water bottles. So this kind of links to the last project that was just mentioned. So in the UK alone, we have 16 million plastic bottles that aren't being recycled each year, which means that they are going to oceans and landfills, where in the oceans, they can take around 1,000 years to biodegrade, which can cause problems and pollution that both harms plants and animals on and off of land. Our final problem that we highlighted was that there's a lack of awareness regarding recycling in the UK. So according to a study, 2,000 adults in the UK, 86% of these adults found that they thought that they are good at recycling, but 55% say that they are usually uncertain as to what can and can't be recycled. Next slide, please. So to tackle this problem, we thought that educating the younger generations would be a good place to start, because these are quite an impressionable group of people. So this could be through engaging tasks such as recycling activities, field trips to like recycling plants, and even in our project we highlighted a primary school in Lincolnshire in the UK which has eco clubs, which helps to engage children in environment and nature, which can ensure that they become eco-conscious adults. So we also thought about application of reusable water bottles, and then also refill stations come hand in hand with this. So this would directly cut down on plastic bottle use. Social media influencers play a key role in keeping reusable water bottles trendy. So things such as Stanley Cups, we thought this was a good thing to highlight. And then with the hopeful increase of reusable water bottles, more refill stations will need to be available in more communal areas. There are regulations around this, but with the correct people in place, this can be easily implemented. And finally, the standardization of eco labels. So OPRL, on pack recycling label, is a commonly used recycling label in the UK. It's very easy to follow. It's got instructions about what you can and can't do with the product prior to placing it into the correct bin. So this is easy for many generations to follow, and having one label helps to tackle the separate issue of greenwashing from companies and to build relationships between consumers and creates loyalty. Next slide, please. So the significance of recycling in the wider world. So changes to recycling obviously need to be made to stop tons of waste being buried into landfill. So a fact from 2008-2009, which is a long time ago, but just for context, 27 million tons of waste was collected by local authorities, and 50% of this waste went into landfill. And landfills release methane into the atmosphere, which can exacerbate climate change. And in the UK, 27% of total methane emissions come from landfill. And finally, so recycling can reduce the demand of extracting raw materials and encourage a circular economy. So this will reduce air and water pollution. And obviously this will also help to save energy and reduce greenhouse gas emissions, which can also help to tackle climate change. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jay, for your presentation, for your wonderful presentation. I think your mentioning of the universal and sort of cohesive recycling labeling system is a brilliant note because, I mean, the easier it is to recycle something, the more likely people are to engage with it because it makes perfect sense to them. And not only does it increase recycling, but I also think it might be really beneficial to recycling factories and companies themselves because they're going to get material that is better sorted out and cleaner, which just simplifies the process by thousands. So really good note. Thank you very much for your presentation. Now let's welcome Yash Kandival's team, and they're going to introduce us to their decentralized peer-to-peer renewable energy trading system. Go ahead, guys.
Thank you. We are very excited to be able to share our system. We call ourselves kilowatt hours, KWH, which stands for Adaptive Energy Systems in Disaster-Struck Regions. Next slide, please. We are excited to bring decentralized trading such that it is profitable and sustainable to energize your futures. Next. The key problems that we are facing right now are power outages in crisis-struck regions, underutilized renewable energy sources, and vulnerable centralized systems. We address these with decentralized energy systems and real-time trading to ensure resilience. That is a novel idea we are working with. Next. So what needs to be done? Our solution focuses on decentralized, distributed energy resources such as microgrids and peer-to-peer energy trading to prioritize critical infrastructure like hospitals and shelters to direct the energy that's being produced from these renewable sources and send it to them first. Next. So we have our two-sided marketplace, which connects producers and consumers directly, cutting out the decision-making middleman. Blockchains help us ensure secure transactions in real time while using smart meters to automate the process, making this entire process very user-friendly. Think of it as Airbnb, but for energy, where homeowners with solar panels can sell excess energy to their neighbors or clinics directly. Next. We are tackling several UN SDG goals, starting with 7, 9, and 11 to allow access of clean energy to infrastructure, to enable social communities to strengthen themselves while prioritizing institutions in disaster-struck regions, which is why we also bring in UN SDG 16. Next. So the key components of a platform is a battery that would allow us to store energy to also send energy back to the grid when we at times that renewable energies production is reduced. And next, this is also something that can be implemented by several people. So we are treating this as a business model other people can take. So there can be subscription fees, transaction fees that would allow for people to make profits, and that would just within 2 years. If you assume a moderate estimate of 50,000 people or 50,000 transactions taking place from this platform, you can get a break even in under 2 years. And this is an entirely software-based solution. Next. As you see the graph, it shows the projections, and we have our social factors next. That'll really show you how the transactions take place. We have solar panels producing energy, sending it to schools, hospitals, and clinics. You see that's not all 100%, but the small amount of energy that they do get would be critical in ensuring, say, security, heat generation, etc. Next. There are several government policies for the US that would allow us to implement such a solution, such as the FERC Order 2222. Further, we have the Order 888 that would allow utility companies which have to allow utility companies third-party access. But we are going international. We want people in Ukraine and Puerto Rico to be able to implement this first because they're the ones who need this the most. Next. We have conducted 30 plus customer discoveries talks to talk to professionals in the industry, talk to people from these disaster-struck regions in Ukraine and Puerto Rico. We have talked to Department of Energy heads who have implemented such projects to make sure that this is something that we can actually take to market. And this is something we are very excited to continue pursuing after this. We have a panel of 10 plus advisors, 30 plus discoveries, and something we are going to continue doing. Next. Overall, we are excited to protect our critical infrastructure during disasters. And alongside with P2P energy trading, we want to use blockchains to secure the transactions and help everyone get access to energy when it's needed the most. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Arham, for presenting on behalf of the team today. I think it is a very well thought through approach to energy trading. And I think it's impressive to see this very profound approach developed to combining technology and ensuring better energy use. Very, very sustainable, very innovative. It was really interesting to listen to your project today and read the fact sheet. So thank you very much for doing that. Quick little housekeeping. Once again, I know there's a lot of discussions happening in the chat. Please feel free to let me know when you want me to advance the slides. You don't have to say please, you're fine. Just say next and I'll advance the slides. But I'm also keeping up with your presentation, so I'm trying to make sure that the slides are correlating with what you're saying. But don't feel like you're being mean or rude or anything. Just tell me next and I'll advance your slides. So I hope that's clear. But again, if there's any more questions, we are on the chat to make sure that everybody feels comfortable. Up next, we have Lena Lee's team with Sophia, who will talk about upcycling of food materials for dye for clothing. Guys, you can go ahead.
I'm Lena Lee.
And I'm Sophia Lidman.
Did you know the shirt you're wearing may have contributed to polluted rivers and toxic working conditions, or that the lettuce you didn't finish could have been turned into something beautiful? Our project tackles two major problems: food waste and harmful fashion practices, by using food waste to create sustainable clothing dyes. Next.
Now, moving on to the problem. Each year, fast fashion emits 1.2 billion tons of greenhouse gases. Toxic dyes pollute waterways and can harm workers' health, creating various diseases. In Bangladesh, a fast fashion hub, food waste exceeds the US, Russia, and China. Meanwhile, clothing production is set to hit 1.3 billion pieces annually by 2028. So what's our solution? It's to upcycle perishable food dyes to clothing, creating a sustainable fashion alternative resulting in decreased greenhouse gas emissions and food waste, as well as better working conditions. Even if we cut food waste in half, there's still enough waste to dye the clothing being produced.
Next. We selected commonly wasted foods from the US to dye cotton, one of the most widely used American fabrics, to assess the effectiveness and compatibility with large-scale textile production. In Bangladesh, they could use jute and local lentils, vegetables, and fruits to dye, as it takes 1 to 2 cups of food waste to dye a shirt. In turn, food waste disposal fees will be reduced and the economies will grow based on using local items. Next slide, please. Next. Though food waste dyes may take longer to dye and produce smaller batches, their benefits far outweigh the drawbacks of chemical dyes. They're cheaper to source, non-toxic, eco-friendly, create more localized jobs, and are odor-free, unlike the clothing you order from Shein. Trust me, I speak from experience.
Next slide, please. Now, because we focus on sourcing the food scraps locally, creating regional distribution centers, the transportation costs are minimized. Currently, there are high transportation costs in the fast fashion industry because the chemical dyes are mainly produced in only a few locations. Next slide, please. Scaling our initiatives is achievable through modern techniques that ensure food dye clothing matches the strength of chemically dyed fabrics. Methods like mordants, cross-linking agents, and microencapsulation improve color longevity, as well as adding a final protective layer like wax.
Our proposed efforts drive innovation in the food industry by leveraging global partnerships to source and preserve food waste year-round through drying or freezing. Pigments extracted with enzymes are processed into transportable liquids or powders, enabling seamless integration into existing dyeing equipment and factories. By turning waste into fashion, we're tackling environmental harm and promoting sustainability to address 5 SDGs mentioned in our fact sheet. Together, we can create a healthier, more innovative future for both the food and fashion industries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sophia and Lena, for presenting such an outstanding, very lively presentation. I personally admire ideas that deal with food waste or any production waste, because it's almost inevitable that is going to be happening in our economy. And if there are ways to use it for something that can be used further, I think it's great. And your statistics really got to me. So thank you very much for caring so much about this problem. And I hope you get to test this technology even further. Moving forward, let's invite Ethan Sad's team to take the Zoom stage and address another problem with food waste, or waste, not food waste, I apologize. Ethan, you're good to start.
So first of all, I just want to apologise because the weather's quite bad, so my connection's been a bit awkward. So yeah, my project, we first initially started to research, next slide please, the kind of impacts, the environmental impacts of waste at festivals. So every single year, UK music festivals produce 23,500 tonnes of waste. Most of that ends up in landfill, only a third of it is recycled, and obviously landfill has its own many issues. And research showed that 80% of festival goers want to be more responsible at festivals, and that's where we come in. Next slide, please. So our idea was to develop a mobile app that would help people act more sustainably at festivals through many different kind of parts of the app. So for example, maps of bins and recycle stations makes it easier for people to just put things in bins rather than littering and recycle. And then tracking and logging waste, which makes people more aware of how much they're consuming. And then the daily challenges and the dashboard and leaderboards kind of add this competitive element to it, which might encourage people to also interact and act more sustainably. So we would plan to implement our idea through the development, which is one kind of barrier that would come with this idea, as you would need the funds and the people with the correct skills. And then partnership and sponsorship would help to fund the idea, and also would make it a feasible idea when it comes to like the QR codes for tracking your waste. And then promotion, particularly through social media, as the majority of people who end up going to festivals are younger and will probably be on social media. And then starting small at small scale festivals is also the other feasible way to do this, as it's difficult to start at very big scale, large festivals. So hopefully our app would reduce the amount of plastic being bought and the amount of plastic that's just being littered and ending up in landfill. And it would encourage people to act more sustainably at festivals, which there is hope that if they begin to act more sustainably at festivals, it could influence their daily lives, and they would incorporate these sustainable practices into their daily lives. And similarly to that, providers at festivals and even bigger businesses would see the engagement of people with the app and see that there's a demand for sustainability, and that would kind of encourage them to adopt more sustainable practices, like using less single-use plastic to keep their customer base. And yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Asmi, for presenting on behalf of the team today. I hope your weather gets better as well. I think it's a really interesting idea of addressing the waste of big events, which obviously is a big deal anywhere, including the US. All the big music festivals and concerts are really, really wasteful. And so I think it was a very nice touch for you to think about and then address that idea. But it also actually reminded me of Duolingo, but because of the competitive aspect that you add to it, which, I mean, we all know how effective Duolingo notifications and the leaderboards and the streaks are. So I think it was a very smart idea to introduce a little bit of competition to encourage everyone to do something and get a sense of accomplishment. So good job with that, guys. Thank you very much for presenting once again. All right, how everybody's doing? I hope you're learning something new from everybody and enjoying the award ceremony. I hope you're seeing the new connections between the fields that you can make and sustainable development goals, perhaps. Thank you to everyone who presented so far. You're doing great. And we look forward to hearing even more presentations from even more finalists. So feel free to grab yourself a quick water, and we're going to continue. Let's get going with that. Our next finalist is Georgia Scher, who will present a very interesting take on water sanitation. Georgia, go ahead.
Okay, hello everyone, can you hear me? Okay, so I'm from South Africa, and seeing how people live in South Africa inspired me to join this challenge. Next slide. Okay, so every 10 seconds, dirty, unsanitized drinking water claims a life. Next slide. Some statistics on this is that 26% of the global population is without access to safe drinking water. Another 46% doesn't have access to basic sanitation facilities. And there are 844 million people in the world and 14 million South Africans without access to clean water and basic sanitation. Next slide. Okay, but why should we care about dirty water? So firstly, it's a basic human need, which relates to SDG 6, human health, which is SDG 3, and education, especially young rural kids who fall sick from dirty water. And what is meant by dirty water is polluted water, which contains harmful contaminants such as pathogens, waterborne diseases, viruses, and so on. Next slide. Okay, so now my idea for this is to create a water sanitation system that uses mechanical filtration and exothermic reaction of composting to create clean water, which is then safe for consumption. Next slide. So stage one of this idea is that we have a funnel-shaped structure, which is filled with organic materials. And as the water is poured into the top of the structure, the organic materials filter out any harmful solids, and then the cleaner water is collected at the bottom of the pipe. Next slide. What then happens is this pipe is connected to stage 2, and this consists of heating from composting. So what happens here is that we have a basic compost heap with plastic pipes, which are coiled through the volume of the heap. Now, research shows that water needs to be heated up to 60 degrees Celsius to effectively kill harmful pathogens and waterborne diseases. And research also shows that compost heaps can reach a maximum temperature of 80 degrees Celsius. So now how this works is as the water flows through the pipe, which is coiled through the volume of the compost heap, the heat from the compost then heats the water in the pipe. And when the water reaches 60 degrees Celsius, it kills all harmful pathogens and sterilizes the water. Next slide. So now we reach stage 3, which is basically just a water storage tank, which has a pipe connected to the bottom so that the users can access the clean water as desired. Next stage. Next slide, sorry. Okay, so now why this works is that it's a zero waste cycle, which relates to SDG 12 of responsible consumption and production. We're using waste to create renewable energy, which is SDG 7 of clean energy. It is low cost. We have no carbon footprint, which is SDG 13 of climate action. It is very user-friendly. It can be scaled from a household to a community size, and the disregarded compost heap can be used as a fertilizer, which is SDG 12 of zero hunger, which promotes farming productivity. Okay, now, so the setups and costs of this is that we can partner up with local communities to build these. And what I really just want to draw attention to the slide is that for the composting materials, it's all normal household waste, such as food waste, wood, ash, plant material, paper and cardboard, and manure. And a roundabout estimate of a total cost of this would be 2,450 Rand or $136, which is relatively cheap. Next slide, please. Some of the risks and managements with this is that the water might pass through the system too quickly and not be heated up to the required temperature to kill the pathogens. And what can be done is add a thermometer and we can control the flow rate of the water. Another thing is that compost heap needs to be mixed every 3 days to maintain its temperature. And what we can do about this is educate the users and the people in rural areas who will be using this to understand how to just navigate the system of this and the requirements to keep mixing the compost heap, as well as the compost heap, they only stay warm for about 2 weeks. So what also can be done is that we can set up multiple compost heaps so they can offset each other so that as one dies out, there's another one that's at its maximum peak temperatures so that we can still create clean, sterile water for people to drink. Next slide. Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Georgia, very much. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad your Wi-Fi connection was good enough to present today. And thank you for such an interesting idea of addressing, once again, waste to aid another problem. I mean, obviously, clean water is an essential element, and it's crucial to address it on local levels as well, especially to the communities that lack global support. And it seems like your solution would be able to implement it on a very local level. And I think it was great. I wonder if it could be applicable to colder climates as well, even though the compost process might be slowed down a little bit. But I would be very curious to see if it can be applicable to different climate areas as well. But that's just my thought and my curiosity. So thank you very much for presenting today and creating your wonderful fact sheet. Now we would like to please welcome Ivan Stankov's team with their project on soil recovery in Ukraine. Go ahead, guys.
Okay, thank you. I will get straight to the point. Due to ongoing conflict, around 1/4 of Ukraine's land, an area equivalent to the size of Illinois, is heavily mined. These mines pose a threat to human lives, ecosystems, and critical infrastructure. The contamination of soil, delayed rebuilding efforts, and economic impacts on agriculture have ripple effects that extend far beyond Ukraine, affecting global food supplies. Highlighting the scale of the challenge, the estimated time to neutralize all explosives could take up to 2 centuries. Our project addresses these urgent needs with a focus on safety, innovation, and sustainability. Next slide, please. To tackle these challenges, we introduced Yarilo, a modular, remotely controlled machine designed for demining, soil restoration, and agricultural use. Inspired by the ancient Slavic deity of fertility and prosperity, Yarilo symbolizes hope and renewal. This machine is eco-friendly and versatile. It features a tracked frame with the interchangeable modules for specific tasks like mine sweeping, plowing, seeding, debris collection. The modular design ensures that each task is performed independently and efficiently. By using recycled materials from war remnants and incorporating hybrid power systems, we minimize environmental impact and resource consumption. Yarilo is remotely operated, ensuring safety for both military personnel and agricultural workers. After the demining phase, the machine can transition to support long-term agricultural needs, offering continuous value for Ukraine's recovery efforts. Next slide, please. By restoring soil ecosystems, reducing the risk of food crisis, and enabling industrial and settlement recovery, Yarilo addresses both immediate and long-term needs. Our phased implementation plan begins with preparation, including securing funding and partnerships. The production stage involves creating Yarilo machines and training operators. These efforts are projected to have an economic impact by creating jobs and restoring Ukraine's industrial and agricultural capacity, and no less important, to restore its ecological legacy. But after all, the Yarilo project faces two main challenges: a high cost and the lack of practical experience. To address this, we will collaborate and consult with various international organizations and worldwide experts. By tackling these challenges, Yarilo can not only aid Ukraine's recovery, but also serve as a model for post-war rebuilding worldwide. And I would like to finish my speech with the following quote. A war as a phenomenon will not disappear in the coming decades, and having such technologies to combat its consequences is an unfortunate necessity. That's all, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you. Soil health is key to economic prosperity of a country, and as sad as it is, I think your quote that you ended your presentation with is very relevant. And I find it admirable that your team decided to take up a challenge that's currently present for Ukraine and brainstorm on what can be done about it by combining what already works in different areas. So very well done, and thank you very much for taking the time to present for us today. Let's turn our attention now to Kevin Tobon's team, who are going to present about creating a circular economy through composite materials. Go ahead, team.
Good morning, my name is Kevin Julian Góngora Tobón. I am the leader of the group representing the University of Quindío in Colombia. And next slide, please. Bueno, la idea consiste en fabricar materiales comerciales a partir de desechos de biomasa y plástico. Luego de esto, empoderaremos a alguna comunidad vulnerable para que se aproveche de esta.
Okay, well, as I told you at the beginning, I said that I was going to help Kevin translating his idea, yeah? So he said, the idea is to manufacture a commercial material from a composite material made from biomass and recycled plastic. The idea will be introduced to vulnerable communities to allow them to benefit from it.
Como podemos observar en las imágenes, ya hemos realizado pruebas, donde lo que hemos obtenido son materiales muy parecidos a la madera plástica.
The images below represent the initial tests, which demonstrate a material that's very similar to plastic wood.
Los objetivos de desarrollo de la ONU que se cumplirán con esta idea son los siguientes: no pobreza, agua limpia y saneamiento, trabajo decente y crecimiento económico, producción y consumo responsable.
The Sustainable Development Goals highlighted here are no poverty, clean water and sanitation, decent work and economic growth, and responsible production and consumption.
Next slide, please. Bueno, como se puede observar en la figura, la idea se ejecutará primero recolectando los materiales, luego fabricando un material compuesto, el cual será sometido a pruebas mecánicas para determinar su viabilidad comercial. Se capacitarán a las comunidades vulnerables para que fabriquen y comercialicen el compuesto. Una vez el compuesto llegue a su vida útil, este será reciclado y nuevamente comenzará el ciclo.
Okay, again, as can be seen in the image, the execution of the idea will begin by collecting the compound, manufacturing the material, and subjecting it to tests to determine its commercial use, training the communities to manufacture and market the material. Once the material has completed its useful life, it will be recycled and the cycle can begin again.
Las comunidades vulnerables se verán beneficiadas además de recibir un ingreso. Estas generarán empresas, generarán empleos y estarán generando un impacto positivo hacia el medio ambiente.
The creation of business employment and a positive environmental impact will create benefits for vulnerable communities along with economic income.
Next slide, please. Time for your much. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, guys, for taking the time today to present and let us know about the circular economy that you came up with. We really appreciate your effort on working on this fact sheet and once again taking the time to present today. Very well done. Thank you. Let us now move on and invite Kathleen Toomey's team to take our Zoom stage once again and introduce us to how bats can help with insecticide. Go ahead, guys.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm Kathleen, and my partner Nora and I chose to focus on using bats as a form of integrated pest management to sustainably reduce insecticide use. Next slide, please. So the challenge we faced was farmers using insecticide and increasing that use by up to 31% as the local bat populations declined. Widespread insecticide use negatively affects human and animal health and also local ecosystems. So the second part of this challenge was the declining bat populations. So insecticide harms bats, and bats are also threatened by an incurable fungal disease called white nose syndrome, which both are causing their populations to decline. The situation is basically like a reinforcing feedback loop that we need to sort of like get out of before more damage is caused. And then in our state, specifically in Illinois, 4 out of 13 bat species are endangered. Next slide, please. So our solution to these challenges is that farmers should work with bats to reduce their need for insecticide by implementing the following practices: chemical-free and sustainable farming, clean water, habitat preservation, and promoting native biodiversity. The SDGs we thought fit these solutions are responsible consumption and production, and life on land, and then also clean water, food security, and good health. Next slide. So in our research, we found this study that kind of showcased what we were trying to prove, that this apple orchard basically netted off half of their orchard and prevented bats from hunting in one area and left the other open. And what we found was that bats are really effective at reducing pests. So 91% of the trees that had damaged apples was where the bats could not hunt versus 58.9% where they could hunt. Next slide. So to implement our solutions, we recommend the following. Implementing our sustainable farming solution includes eliminating pesticides, planting cover crops, applying for USDA Farm Bill programs, and using native trees as windbreaks. To keep water clean, we recommend testing regularly, properly disposing of contaminants, eliminating pesticide use, and planting riparian buffers near water. To implement habitat preservation, we recommend formally conserving wildlife habitats, petitioning local government to get involved, keeping native and natural vegetation on farms, and then leaving dead trees for bats to roost in. And then for protecting native biodiversity, that includes planting and maintaining native species, and then removing the invasive species. Next slide, please. So to wrap up, bats eat agricultural pests like the ones featured to the left that destroy crops. Supporting bats on farms not only helps to increase declining populations, but also can reduce the need for insecticides and save farmers money. So happy bats means happy farmers, and then happy farmers means a better world. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen, for presenting this lovely idea of using bats instead of fighting them. I think it was really cool that you mentioned Illinois. I believe in Illinois, we have the largest cave system in our Mammoth Caves National Park in Kentucky, where there's a lot of bats, obviously, and with a lot of farmland around as well. So I'm very curious if they have ever engaged with bats for their endeavors, but it is a really great idea, and I think it's nice that you referred to something that already worked in Italy, and I'm sure there's even more examples of that around the world. So thank you very much once again for your lovely presentation. Next on, we got Emily Uren's team, who's going to be talking about beet pesticides. Go ahead, guys. Feel free to present.
Hi. Our idea is called Let's Be Pesticides. Next slide, please. And as a brief introduction into sugar beet farming, sugar beets are the single biggest agricultural industry in the UK, and there's estimated land usage of 110,000 hectares, which is like a staggering proportion of the 116,000 hectares of land that is used for vegetable farming in the UK. On average, 1.15 million tonnes of refined sugar is produced per year, which is obviously not very beneficial, and that land could be used for other crops such as potatoes, peas and carrots, which actually have health benefits. And sugar beet farming is also unsustainable as it adds to an additional 13 to 21% of the UK's annual topsoil loss per year. Next slide, please. Additionally, sugar beet farming is also unsustainable as two predominant pesticides have to be used in sugar beet farming to combat virus yellows, which is spread by peach potato aphids. Virus yellows is a complex of 3 viruses that reduces the photosynthetic capacity of sugar beet leaves, which in turn reduces the sugar content and the yield of the crop. So to combat this, 2 main pesticides are used, and these are neonicotinoids, which is a relatively persistent neurotoxin which predominantly affects pollinators such as bees. It is also water soluble, which has led to an increasing issue of it leaching into aquifers and affecting aquatic ecosystems. To try and combat this, they have started applying neonicotinoids via seed coating instead of spray application, as this affects pollinators less. But so far, only an estimated 5% of the pesticide has been absorbed by the crop, and the rest is leached into the soil, which has had an effect on soil biota. Soil biota obviously provide an incredibly important role in nutrient cycling, so this has been detrimental to agriculture as well. And the other pesticide used is pyrethroids, which is one of the most common insecticides, not just in sugar beet farming, but in farming as a whole. But they are not just used in crop protection, they are also used in personal protection, for example, against mosquitoes. This is because they are deemed to be less harmful to mammals than they are to insects, but they aren't without their risks. They also have been found to cause neurotoxicity and reproducive toxicity in humans, and they've been studied and found to be likely carcinogenic. They are also very harmful to aquatic wildlife as well. Next slide, please. So to combat this, we wanted to provide an integrated solution, and our long-term solution, which is currently being researched, is gene editing. And for sugar beets, this is being researched by a biotechnology company in the UK called Tropic. Gene editing involves making changes to the genome by finding a specific sequence in the DNA of the beetroot, which is then cut out and prepared to produce the edited DNA, which provides the crop with disease resistance inbuilt into its genetic sequence. The tropic does this in a slightly alternative way to usual, which is by working on it alongside gene silencing, which is actually a natural process that happens in nature, which is where active parts of a DNA sequence are deactivated, and unlike regular genetic editing, this prevents like non-target sequences being edited, so it's helped improve the process. But as this is only just being researched and can't be implemented relatively soon, we also proposed like the integrated part of it, which is using integrated pest control. So some methods of this are already used in sugar beet farming, which involve camouflaging sugar beets using inter-row cover crops, or using companion crops like garlic, which are a smell deterrent, and biological control using natural predators like ladybirds. But some other ideas we think that could also be implemented for sugar beets are by limiting pesticide leakage by growing contour buffer strips, which would absorb the runoff of the pesticides and completely prevent the issue of leaching into aquatic systems and detrimental effects on the aquatic ecosystems, or by vertical farming, as sugar beets have shallow roots, which makes them suitable for this method of growth. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you, Madison, for presenting your fact sheet today. I think it's very interesting to see gene editing in sugar beets because I mostly know about gene editing in corn due to our campus in University of Illinois being surrounded by corn and cornfields. But this is really interesting, and it sounds like it has a lot of prospects in the world. So thank you for introducing us to another approach to gene editing. Really good idea. Thank you very much once again. Now, our last but not least team to present, our finalist number 14, is the Jingning Zhou team. We're going to talk about the future of transportation. Go ahead, guys.
Good morning, everyone. We are Green Sky Riders. I'm Du Haolei.
And I'm Zhou Jingning. Today, we're excited to present our project, Future Transportation with Avatar Network, to support the Sustainable Development Goals.
Next slide. Our team, Zhou Jingning, Du Haolei, Wei Gang Zan, and Pan Sirui, we are all civil engineering students. Next slide. To start, we surveyed 315 people on Avatar's potential, including its advantages, applications, and expected travel range. Respondents believe avatars are ideal for emergencies and daily commuting. They are seen as eco-friendly and efficient with an expected cost of around $10.
Next slide, please. Avatars are fully autonomous and electric, producing no emissions. With future silencing technology, their noise could match that of cars but be less noticeable due to altitude. They also conserve land resources by using airspace, reducing congestion, and cutting travel time by up to 75%, especially useful for emergencies or rescues.
Next slide, please. Building the Avatar network requires vertiport stations, fast chargers, and telecommunication hubs. Next slide. Onboard systems will use AI-powered and real-time monitoring system to ensure precise navigation and adaptive 3D path planning. Next slide.
Key challenges include noise, affordability, and battery life. Addressing these requires advancements in technology and cooperation with regulators like the China Academy of Urban Planning and Design.
How we meet SDGs. Avatars consume less energy, promote low-altitude economy, and create jobs in manufacturing, infrastructure, and operations. Their adoption can boost industrial growth while achieving sustainable and flexible transportation.
Next slide, please. While avatars have a promising future, Other solutions like underground transportation may be better in stable regions, preserving surface space for livability. Singapore's Tengah City is a good example.
Next slide. In closing, thank you all for this remarkable experience. We are honored to share our ideas, and we are looking forward to any questions you may have. 谢谢大家。
谢谢大家。
Thank you, guys. Thank you for presenting today. And it is a very interesting idea, as I mentioned before. I think using AI and big data has a lot of prospects, and it can definitely help optimize a lot of our systems, including air traffic, which is incredibly complicated. So I'm actually curious for machines like this, if new routes will have to be created, or can it be very smoothly incorporated into the existing air traffic? But that's, again, just me wondering. You obviously know way more about it. So thank you very much once again for presenting. And that wraps up our presentations. Thank you very much once again to everybody who presented today. I hope you learned from each other. And we really admire the effort that you put to take up this challenge and make something valuable out of it. So on that note, we would like to continue to our final part of the award ceremony, which I'm sure has been long awaited for, announcing the awards and our winners. Now, a little bit of housekeeping quickly for everybody's context. There are money prizes that come with our awards, but do expect them to come within the next couple of weeks to the team leaders' bank accounts. However, you will get so much more information and instruction on that on your emails as soon as possible. So just keep that in mind. Once again, please keep your cameras on. We would be happy to see our finalists become awardees and winners. And be ready to speak, to give a couple of thank yous, or just leave a couple of comments if you feel comfortable doing so. So just keep that in mind. Thank you, everybody, for turning on your cameras. It's lovely to see everybody all together. And this year, we are giving out 12 awards. However, all of you will receive a certificate, whether a finalist or an awardee, digital certificate from us, which will also be coming to your emails as soon as possible. And this is, there's a little sneak peek of what it can look like. And without further ado, we are going to start with our awards. The first one being the Most Multidisciplinary Award. As I mentioned previously, multidisciplinary approach is key to sustainable development. This award this year goes to the 2 submissions that presented the most effectively integrated knowledge from multiple disciplines and fields. And the first team to receive our multidisciplinary award is Ethan Sett's team from University of Birmingham. Congratulations, guys. You have done a wonderful job of combining technology, recycling, and climate change, and found it very nice of turning it into something applicable. Very well done. Congratulations, guys. Would you like to say something?
Oh, yeah, just thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, there has also been another great submission that addressed multiple SDGs in a very strong way. Our second multidisciplinary award this year will go to Emily Uren's team, also from the University of Birmingham in the UK. Congratulations to your team as well. Very well done on combining land management with agriculture and safer foods. Congratulations. Feel free to comment if you'd like.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I see Professor Julia Miat also applauding you, so very nice to see everybody. Julia, actually, would you like to say a couple of words? Feel free to do so.
Yeah, it just fantastic. Thank you all. I mean, it's been a fantastic project to be part of, and I'm really proud of our 2 teams for really, getting the multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary aspects that we really strive to encourage at Birmingham. So fantastic. Thank you all. And well done to the teams.
Thank you very much. Thank you for guiding them through this, to you and Beth. And it's been lovely working with you this last few months and weeks. Our next special award is dedicated to climate change, and it is sponsored by the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign Center for Global Studies, and it will be presented by Professor Donna Tanini, who is joining us online today. And she's an associate director of the Center for Global Studies and is a long-term supporter and friend of the competition. Thank you very much for your support, and we welcome you, Donna.
Thank you so very much for your introduction, and to all the presenters for your fantastic game-changing presentations. You all give me hope for a brighter future. So just a little bit about the Center for Global Studies. We were founded in 2000, so we're celebrating our 25th anniversary next year. And our mission is to promote global studies on the campus and also to conduct global studies outreach beyond to our more greater communities. And also, we are a national resource center funded by the U.S. Department of Education, which provides us with the funding that allows us to support the Reimagine Our Future competition by providing salary funding and GA funding to a lot of the folks who work on the Reimagine Our Future competition. And we were also very fortunate to receive a gift, a donation that we are channeling into awards for the Reimagine Our Future competition for 3 years. And for this year's competition, we are very pleased to be able to present that to the Adaptive Energy Systems in Disaster-Struck Regions by Arham Shah, Parshwa Patel, and Yash Khandelwal. Thank you so much for your inspirational vision and the work that you put together for this exceptional project. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Donna. Thank you so much. Means a lot.
Yes. Congratulations. Thank you for helping to change the world.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to do so.
Thank you. Thank you, Donna, for welcoming everybody, for sponsoring our award, and congratulations to the team. Once again, you've done very well. Another project we would like to highlight every year is one that's dedicated to sustainable health solution. This award goes to an innovation that promotes human health and sustainable healthcare services around the world. It is sponsored by Dr. Holly Rosenkrantz, who is here with us today. She is a clinical teaching associate professor in the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, and she's going to not only sponsor but also present this award for you. Holly, go ahead.
Thank you so much. It's truly a privilege to be here and to be involved with this extraordinary competition. And I'm just so stunned and impressed by the everybody's presentations. I feel like I have optimism for the future. So I'm an internal medicine physician with experience in clinical medicine and medical education. And sponsoring this award for sustainable health solutions fits well with my efforts to expand awareness of and actions to address environmental and social determinants of health. I am really inspired to participate in this competition because of its powerful message of advancing sustainable innovations for the benefits of all people and nations. The winning health submission focused on addressing the mental health and rehabilitation needs of the Ukrainian soldiers. So hearty congratulations to Anastasia, Daria, and Maria for promoting health goals.
All right, thank you very much. Go ahead. Thank you. Congratulations to the team. You've done very well. And thank you once again, Holly, for supporting us and being here with us in the studio today. Congratulations, guys. Education. Would you like to say one more word? A couple of words, guys, the team. Sorry, we didn't give you a chance to speak. All right. Well, congratulations once again. Education is at the core of the progress. Our Sustainable Education Solution Award supports the projects that offer a very strong idea on enhancing education technologies or content for classroom or lifelong learning. This is very, very important direction of sustainable development. This year, we would like to support 2 projects that stood out to the judges. And the first Sustainable Education Solution Award is going to the team of Abby Barrett. Congratulations. Well done, guys. Educating communities on canning process is very interesting. It can be implemented in the houses, and you've done really well at explaining that. So congratulations.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys. Well, our second Sustainable Education Solution Award is just as strong. It goes to the project done by the team of Valerie Imber, also from the University of Birmingham. Congratulations, guys. Your emphasis on educating, on recycling, and making it cohesive among everybody was incredible, and judges found it to be an outstanding and truly exciting project. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And on that note, that concludes our special awards part of the award ceremony. Congratulations once again to everybody. It's truly a joy to see these very narrow-aimed projects come to life in your factories, and we cannot be happier to be able to support you guys in implementing those ideas and taking it further. Congratulations to everybody. Now, on that note, we would like to move on to our third prize winners, who will be presented by Ali Garland. Now, Ali is you can go ahead if you like, she's here with us in the studio. She's a senior student here in UIUC, and she's also a competition assistant working with us this year. She's also a previous participant of Reimagine Our Future in 2022, where Ali and her teammate got a third place winner award. So that is what she will be presenting. Here's Ali. Take it away.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Sandra. Okay, so the first winner is Lily Gilbert's team. Congratulations. Would you guys like to say anything?
We'd like to give a big thank you to our Professor Constance Brown for all of her support, and to our specialist advisor, Karen Hodgson-Jones, for helping us figure out the details of our project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Congratulations, guys. And then our next third prize winner is Kevin Tobon's team. Congratulations. You guys want to say anything?
Yeah, well, so as I said before, I'm helping today Kevin, and I really feel proud of him and his team, his idea. We have been working on this, so thank you so much. We're really excited about this.
Yeah, great job. Congratulations. And then our last third prize winner is Kathleen Toomey's team. Congratulations. You guys want to say a couple words?
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to say thank you to Dr. Stiles, our professor, and then also our expert that we talked to, Mark Davis, who was a conservation biologist who specializes in bats, that helped us kind of guide our project. So thank you.
Awesome. Congratulations to all our third prize winners. Now I'm going to hand it back to Sandra.
Thank you, Ali, and congratulations to everybody. Really sorry about the technical difficulties. That was a bad timing on our part, but we hope it's going to be fixed now, and please let us know once again if something is off. We are monitoring the chat and doing our best to figure it out as soon as possible. So congratulations. Once again, you have done a wonderful job, every team. And on that note, we are going to move on to our second prize winners. Now, to remind you quickly, we are awarding 2 second prize winners awards. And the first second prize winner award goes to the team who presented a project, a wonderful project that judges rated very highly. And that is Brianna Harris' team from Wabunzi Community College. Thank you. Congratulations, guys. Go ahead.
Hello.
Thank you so much. Wanted to say some thanks. First, I want to thank the University of Illinois for setting up this whole competition for us, giving us this opportunity to be able to present in front of everybody, and moderating the award ceremony. I know that a lot goes into it, so thank you for all that.
Yeah, we want to thank everyone at Wabanzi as well, all our professors that helped us out. Definitely thank you to David Voorhees for helping us with this. We are also very blessed. We thank God a lot every day. And thank you to Zeus as well for providing us the opportunity to start doing this.
Congratulations, guys. We hope you enjoyed the process, and we're very happy that your idea stood out so much to the judges, and we hope you're going to continue with it and get to some prototypes, perhaps. Congratulations. Now, equally wonderful project is going to get a second prize winner award, and that award goes to a wonderful project by Ivan Stankov's team. Congratulations, guys. Very well done.
Thank you very much. I want to thank my university, your university, for giving my team, me, a chance to be present and to help our world to be more sustainable. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll say it again. I think your dedication to restoration efforts for Ukraine are admirable, and you have a very good sense of how this project can be implemented, and that's really important. So congratulations to your team once again. And that concludes our third and second prize winners. We are almost at the end of this award ceremony, guys. I hope you get excited because we are going to announce our Robert McKim Award, our overall winner of 2024 Reimagine Our Future Undergraduate Sustainability Competitions. The last and certainly not the least award is, as I said, our Robert McKim Award. It goes to truly outstanding submissions that showcase all the 4 pillars of what the judges call an effective and successful entry, which is creativity, realisticness of it, originality, impact, and applicability. All 4 pillars of an outstanding entry. Our Robert McKim Award this year goes to a very interesting project. This year, the overall winner of the 2024 competition is Georgia Scher and her project on Waste to Earth, Clean Water for All. Congratulations, Georgia, and thank you for all your hard work that you've done with addressing the lack of clean water and suggesting a novel way of sanitizing it, both locally and on a bigger scale. You've done really well. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, my heart is racing. Oh my word. Yeah, just thank you to this competition that just gave all our students such a nice platform to be able to express our ideas and try and make a change for the world. And yeah, thank you to all the judges, to everyone who reviewed everything, and to I'm sure the wisdom you brought in the judging process. And yeah, just thank you to all the competition. As I was watching everyone's slides, I was very intimidated. I was like, sure, this is tough competition. So yeah, just thank you to everyone, and yeah, for your smart brains, and just thank you to my university also giving me good knowledge. And yeah, all glory to God. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Georgia. Congratulations. And just as Georgia said, thank you to everyone's smart brains for coming up with these wonderful solutions and innovative ideas on how to address something that you truly care about. Just a quick little reminder, our top 3 winning teams, so our Robert McKim awardee and the second prize winners, are going to get mentoring from one of the University of Illinois business and media professors, Professor Mike Yao, who will guide the top 3 winning teams in identifying actual and viable pathways to further their idea development and to assist them in securing appropriate resources to bring it to life. Mike Yao, I personally know him. He's a wonderful professor, and he will be an incredible help and resource for anybody. So congratulations, guys. I hope you get to learn a lot from Professor Mike. And on that note, thank you to everybody. You've done an incredible work, and thank you to all the participants who've done the work, who were even willing to take up this challenge and do something about something they truly care about. Thank you to all the participants who submitted their fact sheets, and it was tremendous fun looking at your fact sheets and seeing what's out there in the world. Obviously, thank you to all the finalists. You have done wonderfully presenting today, and it was wonderful to see everybody all together to hear your voices behind the fact sheets. And thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for advisors and judges and supporters and everybody who joined us today and made this competition even possible. Once again, thank you for all the organizing team efforts. to make this happen. As our award ceremony and the season of Reimagine Our Future is coming to an end, we'd like to ask you one last thing. Reflect on your learnings from your competition. Not only just read your judges' comments, but think about how has it shaped your perspective through your research or listening or even looking at other people's fact sheets. What can you achieve now that the competition is over? How can that be your building block? Explore ways how to take your ideas further. Talk to professors and industry professionals, your friends, other fellow participants, your peers, and anybody. Take your idea as far as you can and make it happen, because action is where things actually get done and progress get achieved. Thank you very much once again to everybody, and get excited. We are hosting this competition once again next year. It's going to be bigger and even better. We look forward to welcoming you and your friends in 2025. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And yeah, thank you for joining us today. Bye, guys.